Welcome back, my gardening friends. Well, I want to talk to you about my new raised beds and the pallet collar beds. See how they've done. They are new, so let's have a look, and if you want to stay with me till the end, I'll show you how I'm getting on with the new shed home improvements. So in 2019, around the autumn stroke winter, I started to build these scaffold plank raised beds 2 high. In the middle of the screen there, you'll see where I've put a concrete block. There's then a piece of plastic, and then there's screws in the upright posts so to keep it off the ground. And then we use pallet collars, pallet wood as sacrificial boards with milk bottle tops as spacers to protect them. Now the scaffold raised beds have got a soil makeup. For those that haven't seen the video, so we started off at the bottom with obviously the soil right at the bottom, a layer of cardboard, manure, some more soil, roots and sticks, that's big sticks, whatever we'd got, some more soil, some log shavings, with material from the 3 compost containers, soil, compost loose, which may be the stuff that we get off the side of the road, another soil, the leaf mould reject, so that's what come out of the trommel that didn't actually make the leaf mould bin, some more soil, autumn leaves, they're just leaves, the ones that didn't compost down, we put some of those in, more soil, some spent hops from the brewery, some more soil, some 3-year-old wood chip, and then we went to soil again. But the beam bed also had everything from the compost bin layered on top, and most beds then got a layer of my spent cocoa coir compost. This is the shallot bed, relatively weed free, and there's Marie Curie's Walla Walla onions gone to seed, so we'll be saving those. There's not much on the onions, so we're going to go for the seed and maybe salvage one of the onions to try. So because I didn't add lime or manure on a rotation, 4-year rotation, I'll probably be doing a 3-year rotation. It was just hit and miss. The shallots went in this bed, absolutely brilliant. Those were the seed were from Allen, so that worked really well in this bed. Vertical gardening on this side, where we put the mesh for things to grow up, it didn't work with the courgettes because they don't climb. The melons didn't do very well outside, so we won't be doing that again. And the cucumbers failed miserably on these 2. That one's still trying, but the one on the north side with all the shade did quite well. Now I'm not sure whether we've still got another cucumber here that was hidden. So the cucumbers preferred the shade, and like all here in the UK and all over the world, the weather's been absolutely unpredictable, unseasonal. So that's a thought. You've got to think the worst scenario. So here I decided to put my sweet corn, and it's going to be an epic fail. Whether it was the bed or because I interplanted the Swedes between them, not sure. But again, this bed, even some of the Swedes haven't filled out properly, so again, maybe not to try and think too hard about these things. But this bed was a fail in a sort of way. We've still got some good Swedes. So we're following on from that bed across here. This was where some of the brassicas were, some calabrese, some broccoli, some of the cauliflowers, and they did really well. I'm chuffed to bits. Even though they didn't have the added lime, etc., we just planted them in because we hadn't got time. And the cabbage, giant cabbage that sent me, that turned into a korobi. I'll get that right, I haven't got the pronunciation here with me. That's still growing. It's nowhere bigger than a giant. But the dwarf kale is doing well in this bed. We've planted some of the near Girona. I'll get the label in a bit for those. And then we've got our purple sprouting broccoli ready for the spring. And these are some of the giant cabbages that we tried. I think these were from Medwin's that I had sent me. They're not going to make massive cabbages, but they'll make for good eating. Some more kale on the end. We did interplant some beetroot in between all this lot, and they turned out really well. Sprouts, they've been attacked by the caterpillars, so they've had some neem oil. I don't mind them nibbling the tops, but don't eat me sprouts. And again, we've got some of the larger cabbages, the ones that have decided to grow, and a lot of these sprouts and cabbages I got from DT Brown, which were club root resistant. And thank you to the person who commented on one of my previous videos on how they've tackled club root. I will be using it. Right, I decided to put have these as permanent bean beds, peas, etc. Along this far side where it wouldn't shade the rest of the plants. It's helped that cucumber we've just looked at. And we planted peas in front of those, which we've harvested, which the mice had 50% of. And then, of course, those dreaded little pea moth grubs we had to sort out. But then the cheeky prince started growing, and that's trailing along there, so that's worked well. Another thing that's worked well is the raspberry, autumn fruiting raspberry canes. I've pulled the ones out. No, I haven't. The ones that are here, they still seem very firm, they're very rigid, so they may be able to be reused. So I should be saving some of my autumn raspberry canes from plot 1 again for next year. This is my seat. If you haven't seen that video, why not pop back and have a look for the how to make a seat. It's now holding one of the let's just make sure we've got that right for the crown prince. This bed we planted a mixture of peas. Everybody had issues with peas. I've still got to save the seed from those from Bill and Val. We planted Swedes behind. That was a fail. We've got the main lot of beans on the far side. We put Bill and Val's French bees, the pongos. They've done well on the edge of the bed, so I should be replicating that elsewhere and trying to do some successional sowing. It's been a very difficult year for me, but the structure has helped, done okay. But I've had far too many beans and peas. Well, we haven't had never can have too many peas, but I'll tell you a little bit more about the peas next time. So this bed will be my asparagus bed. So when those ferns grow later on, again, they won't shade any of the other beds. So everything will be coming out of here and the underground worm farms, and we'll be moving those somewhere else. As you've already know, I've got to sort out the rats, because the rats decided they wanted to get into the underground worm farms and dig it all up. And we've still got the evidence here of where they tried to help themselves to some of that nice food. At this very moment, I'm not been too bothered about the butterflies. The netting on top is to stop the pigeons from flying in and landing. It has now worked. If they can't land on top of your brassicas, they won't bother. And they definitely can't walk in, because they haven't got a ladder to get in onto the beds. But we've got some more of that kale there, and I've probably lost the label now. But the broccoli is the Claret F1. It started to be nibbled in the greenhouse grow room by something, but it's recovering nicely now and it's growing really well. So I was going to have 6 of these nice beds, but because of the square foot gardening, we made it 1 plank higher. We were short, so we just created this bed out of pallets and some old Corex boards, because we did away with 1 square foot gardening bed. We didn't quite have enough planks, because I wanted to put these 4 barrels here so they were central to this area, and then we pump the water or let it gravity feed from the tanks from a lift pump into these barrels using my wiggly pipe. So we created this bed with all the surplus soil. Because of the virus and everything else that was going on very early on, I planted my potatoes really deep, thinking that we were going to get locked down and weren't able to get to the allotments. But as you know, they deemed it exercise, and basically it's a shop. We have to gather our food. So this has been quite successful. I haven't grown potatoes in the ground for a long time. I didn't add log ashes, so we did get some scab, and these will stay in here now until I need to harvest them. So the previous video, we just delve down, help ourselves to which variety we fancy for that week. So this will be replaced eventually, but for now it will be a permanent bed. Right, we'll move now on to the vertical gardening, the good, the bad, and some of the ugly. I've found early on that the pigeons were flying in, landing on the top and helping themselves to the nice fresh green produce. My plot neighbour said they were having a field day, so we put that little bit of net in. But the New Zealand spinach hasn't done well at the top. I'm filming early on Monday the 10th of August 2020. It's quite cloudy, a little bit cooler, but that's the same spinach. So I should be putting the New Zealand spinach at the bottom, thinking it'd hang right down. I started it at the top, but this is why we always should do something different. The bull's blood beetroot, that's still going from that's the first sowing, but it's just got a bit of mildew now, and this has taken over it now as the main source of my lunchbox and salads. Spring onions haven't done very well. That may be just because of the weather. The leek pips we planted here, they have now flopped, and the lettuce does go to seed quite quickly, because south, the other way is north. I thought do it this way so that they get a bit of sun in the morning, and then the heat of the day, it will just hopefully that they'll be protected, but they're not. Radishes, they do well anywhere and everywhere. The tomatoes, I think overall it's just been the weather this year, but they're very productive. They don't look very healthy. Bill and Val's Pomgo beans at the top, I'll probably do those lower down for easier picking. The last lot of onions from the greenhouse grow room, they look a lot better compared to those. The celery doing quite well in the buckets, and we'll see how that gets on, but I thought just use that as an extra blanching method. Always struggle to grow celery, but other than that everything else is doing all right. So another project. We'll show you some more blue pipe that we've got from out the shed if you want to stay with me to the end. I'm going to be creating a loop. Now the loop will either come all the way down to there so I can walk through. This is just for shade and keep the pigeons off, so I might bring it all the way over so that I haven't got to keep undoing the net, and then I can harvest my vegetables. So hopefully the extra netting, my thoughts were to hang the buckets there and I could walk up the sides, but it's near impossible, so I have to come from each side. But to replace that one, I might just net that fully permanently to give it some shade and then work from this side. It's surprising when you're trying to cram everything into a bit of space, the room that you've got. That was I think it was 700 for the wheelbarrow. A little bit tight, might have to squash the barrow. And obviously we were going to have it 500 wide there, which we haven't got, and then this was 900, which we haven't got. And when the potatoes were here, that was a pain, but we managed. But the square foot gardening, at the end of the season you'll see me take all these slats out. Those slats are just placed in, they'll come out, we'll take the compost out, spread that on the beds, and we'll start fresh next year. And these then have got lids as coal frames, so they'll be dug out deep enough to act as a coal frame. And I might use one for early salad crops and rotate that over 3 years. Pallet collars, excellent for growing our crops in. And using the pallet collars just as protection for the carrots, like that one. But these are doing a lot better now. We had trouble with the carrot willow aphid, which spreads the motley dwarf virus. These carrots are looking really lush. These carrots protected by the cardboard, well, not protecting these because these have already got it, but there's a little bit of damage in there. These came out because they were the worst, and we've still got these. But you see the difference. If you've got that, then you've got the blight or the motley dwarf virus. So I thought 4 pallet collars high, well out the way of the carrot root fly, and then this damn carrot willow aphid come and visited me. Parsnips, absolutely brilliant in these boxes. I've already pulled one out a metre long. Yes, we can't eat the last 600 mil, but the parsnips we had at the weekend didn't go in the freezer. Sweet as anything, absolutely gorgeous. This is a little idea from William Coleman, garden and allotment, as a little cold frame for on top of these, just to bring the plants on. And this was a little idea from Nigel, Muddy Boots, as a little bit of shade. So these pallet collars are really useful. And other than the carrot willow aphid, the pallet collars have all done really well. So that one's gone in now, so we need to continue this row. 1, 2, 3, so that's 4, 8, 12. If I can get another 20 pallet collars over the winter, I'll be a happy boy. Nice big pile of soil there, ready to go into these. The reason I've built these so high is because I want to, and because I've got plenty of soil. Unfortunately, I've left the water on these overnight. Bill and Val, I can't get in here to line this, so I've just put plastic bags over the ends of all the pipes. This is my long root veg, and as you can see now, all the bags are filled. They're in my bath, not my bath, but the bath, the one I wash my veggies in. So hopefully if the roots do get 4 metres down, they'll go into that bag now and continue growing and won't be pulled back. So when I put these in, I've done it so this one came halfway up, so that one would sit, but that isn't half the length of that. That's why it's sticking out, guys. But there'll be some little strawberry boxes fitted there just to take up that gap, but it's so much better now. I've got this room. I'm just speeding it up a bit, guys, because I'm looking at the time. This is the surplus soil. That's just going to get stacked there for now. This is what we've got from up the side of the shed, which if you think that was the corner post of my shed, then the gap there was where everything was stored. So you can see what I've done there at the moment. So overall, my raised beds and everything have done really well. I will be planting some green manure, so I can start getting back into the 3-year, 4-year rotation of making sure we prepare the beds ready for next year. So manure on half of them, lime on the rest, and hopefully then we'll get some control over the things that we plant. But overall, considering I didn't finish this till March and April into May, I did really well. In actual fact, I think I planted these just before the lockdown. So you work it out, guys, you work it out. But it did come together really well, especially the what was going to be the triple ended up as the quadruple compost bins, leaf mould, spent compost, my homemade, the compost I find with the perlite in full, and the compost I find with the cocoa coir, that's full. And these are the elastic straps from the sofa, the house sofa that we recycled, and basically unhook that, and then when we stretch it out, the post holds it, so if the wind does blow, it stretches a bit but it doesn't blow right out. So moving on to the shed before you all disappear. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe before you leave me. So that was the main upright. This is the wood that we've got from the truck find going right way back. We're due for some thunderstorms today and the rest of the week, so I've just put that back up there to protect those things. I'm trying to do half at a time. So that's all cut down. The pallets stacked on top of one another, sitting on bricks and then wood. I've used my system of bricks, plastic and screws to protect that good piece of wood, but most of it will stay reasonably dry. And to give it this extra stability, I'm creating the drying racks come storage racks there. I'm leaving those in there because we're all free at the bottom, so I can stack my sieved cocoa coir for my carrots and parsnips for the holes. The floor will be coming out. There was 4 of these boards, 2 at the back of the shed and 1 down each side. So I decided to put it up against the hedge. And I've just got to fill this area in with pallets. Obviously it's a little bit more awkward, but if you think that's the gap, hang on, let's so from here to the wall was not wasted space. But you can see all the hedges overgrown. I've really cut that right back. Done a good job there. But I'm hoping now I can make full use of this space here, and then we can wood chip it up. When I was trying to break that piece of wood across the bottom, it's split there, so it looks like he's done this in 2 halves. So I'm going to carry on, but I'm going to say goodbye now because the time is getting on. Hope you've enjoyed this. Please consider subscribing. I'm hoping to get this shed sorted. There's some of the polycarbonate, the angled. I've only done that because that full sheet of polycarbonate only goes to there, look. So I've added that. Does it matter? No. This roof's very, very old, so if I can make good use of it, then I will do. So anyway, happy gardening to you all. Till next time, my friends. Ta-ra for now. Don't go, because I'm just going to do some pause and record on my shed. Till next time, my friends, ta for now.